Hey YouTube, it's Tamamoni back at it again and coming at you this week for another video. In fact, I'm going to be starting a series of journalism related videos where I find news articles or TV broadcasts or radio broadcasts, anything journalism related, any news story out there, and I read it, listen to it, or watch it, and then critique it, tell you what I thought about the story, how it was written, all that good stuff. And yeah, I just present it to you guys and want to maybe know your thoughts about it as well. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about a story I've been seeing going around a lot on Twitter and newspapers and TV broadcasts. So it's about our one and only fave dude, Mitch McConnell, our Senate Majority Leader, but more importantly, his wife, Elaine Chao. And I'm going to be talking about the article I read from the New York Times. It was printed on June 2nd of this year, and it's the title of the article, this long-form article, is called "A Bridge to China and Her Family's Business in the Trump Cabinet." And this article was written by multiple reporters, Michael Forsyth, Eric Lipton, Keith Bradsher, and Su Li Wei. So, hold on. Let me get back to the statement I said. Because this article I think was really well researched and written. I mean, it probably took like months to write because it's not just reporting. It took interviewing. It took lots of research. From what I read in this article, they said that they had to file some Freedom of Information laws in order to get transcripts of Elaine Chao's travel to China and meeting with her family and also Chinese leaders. I think other access to like government documents. Let me see, but I want to find where in the article where they talk a little bit about how she got into government and before she met Mitch McConnell. So let me find it. I should have taken notes. As a good journalist, I should have taken notes, but this was me not being the quality journalist I should be. Right here. So, apparently she got involved in U.S. government in 1989, and that was when she was it says in this New York Times article that she was the Deputy Transportation Secretary under President George H.W. Bush, and this was in 1989. And then she served in the cabinet of George W. Bush as Labor Secretary. So those are the official titles right now. And right now, under the Trump administration, she is... Oh my god. I just said it. She's like the... Yeah, right now she's the Transportation Secretary. Under the Trump administration. So this article I really liked. Like I said, well researched. It talks about Elaine Chao's family ties. Her family has a shipping company called the Foremost Group, and they've been around since the 60s because that's when her father started the company, and they have, multiple shipping ports all around the world, and so that's just that. I won't get into too many details of that. Also, if you guys have a New York Times subscription, you can check out that article. Like I said, it's really good. And so they go into a little bit about how the father started his business, and then they also talk about Elaine Chao's traveling to China, or not even just China, but also having her family come into DC. They also go into Mitch McConnell's campaign funding and how through his marriage to Elaine Chao, her family has donated, I think, over thousands of dollars to Mitch McConnell's campaign since he's a senator from Kentucky, and that's made him one of the richest Congress people, which I personally think is problematic. I mean, regardless of which political side, as in Democrat, Republican, my belief is that you say you guys are public officials, right? And these guys say that they are running this campaign on our behalf, but this isn't the first time we've seen. Now I'm going, I'm divesting a little bit from the article, so I'm telling you my own personal opinions. This isn't the first time the American public has seen articles, news stories, whether printed or on TV or on radio, of our own government officials that they say we elect, being doing corruption, being corrupted willingly. You know, we we apparently vote for these guys, and they run a campaign that says they are running for our interests, but then you find out that no public official should be getting more than like $1 million, even if they're in the U.S. government, but getting more than $1 million or however many millions of millions, like making millions when they are doing a public service job. But they do, and why? Because big time lobbying groups and other, billionaires and companies and corporations, they pump their campaigns with money. And going back into this article, it mentioned how Elaine Chao's family not only donated lots of money to Senator Mitch McConnell's campaign, because he's now running for re-election as a senator in Kentucky. They've also donated lots of money to the Republicans of Kentucky, their campaigns. So that's pretty problematic. And while I was reading it, I I definitely felt like I was kind of watching a movie, or the types of TV shows that we see um, on TV, like The Americans. I know that's about like Russian spies that like go undercover and pretend to be American citizens or something like that. And there's all this like deep state, like we have spies, working for the other team when really they're supposed to be Americans, but they're not. It reminds me of another show that's on Netflix that I kind of like. It's called Secret City, and it's about the Australian government, and it's basically the same thing, like this deep state. You don't really know what's going on, and our government leaders aren't really the ones that are working for us. They're playing like a double agent to our foreign enemies and all that type of stuff. So I got that kind of vibe when I was reading the article. I think what I was thinking throughout the article while I was reading it was, okay, like this can't be true, knowing it's probably most likely true. But I think it's the optimism in me that wants to believe that, oh no, maybe they're, because in the article it meant, they had some a little bit of an interview from Angela Chao, Elaine Chao's sister, who's the CEO of the Foremost Group, which is the shipping company that Elaine Chao's family owns. That, oh, it's because I'm a Chinese woman, and you guys are over assuming that my sister would be involved in my company, and that we're doing this whole deep state conflict of interest, and that's not really who we are. Kind of playing that whole like, you guys are being discriminatory, teetering on racist for assuming that we would be helping our sister do corruption. But I can understand that, but at the same time, like, look, the more and more I look at these stories and I see what these politicians say, whether it's from America or from other countries, and looking at their body language, y'all are being corrupt. Simple case in fact, whether it's the U.S. or Nigeria. Yes, I will say Nigeria because that's where my parents come from, and that's where a lot of my family originates from. They're dealing with their own mess there. England's dealing with their own mess there with the whole Boris Johnson and Brazil, like all these. As much as I try to be like, okay, we live in a country where there's checks and balances. Like, obviously this can't be going on, but I'm like, no, it's going on. Like, her sister may have said the same, but your sister's out here committing corruption and whatnot. Like, since Trump has been president, I've seen a lot of investigative reports on his presidency. I mean, we see it every day. Trump tweeted this, Trump said this, the dealings between him and China, him and Mexico, him and any other foreign country with the U.S. And if it's not the U.S. relations with other countries, that focus on Trump, it's his personal life, right? And I feel as though, as much as we hold our president accountable for a lot of things, and I'm not just talking about Trump, just US presidents in general, we hold them accountable for a lot of things. I think that there should be more focus and much more hard hitting stories on our Congress, because they're the ones making our laws. I mean, that's pretty important. Yeah, the president has power, but Congress has a good amount of power too. I mean, especially with the Senate, they're the ones that, get a lot of things confirmed and all that type of stuff. I mean, that's why they're called the Senate is the upper chamber of Congress. And then even our House of Reps, they too can be pretty powerful too. These guys are the ones that get laws passed in this country. They're the ones that create them and will push to try and get them passed in this country. And so because of that, and knowing that, okay, these congressmen, whether it's the Senate or the House of Reps, they need to get re-elected ever so often, couple of years, that their elections don't rely just on our votes. They rely on who's going to pay them the most money. And as sad as it is, corporations and billionaires and any type of big special interest groups will contact these guys and are willing to put as much money into their campaigns just so they can pass laws that will benefit them. And it ends up hurting who the most? Us regular citizens, as the American people. So just to sum up, I really liked this article. And for those of you who haven't read this article yet, on the New York Times, I'll try to see if I can put a link to it in my video somewhere. And you guys should definitely read it, check it out. Tell me what I've missed, because I mean, reading something for the first time, you're gonna get hit with all the new stuff, but definitely reading it a couple times, I definitely might have missed something that I probably didn't catch or didn't quite understand. So if any of you guys are gonna, you should definitely read this article and maybe even look at some of the quick news clips that they have of this story. Right now, Elaine Chao, I guess this big story, because this story hasn't just been reported by the New York Times. It's been reported by the Wall Street Journal and I believe the Washington Post, and I know also Politico as well. So yeah, I'll put a link to this article. You guys should definitely read it, check it out. Tell me anything I might have missed, what you guys' thoughts on not just the story, but also what you think about our U.S. government in terms of Congress and them making laws, and how we should watch for, I mean, we've always been watching, but definitely watch for corporations, big interest groups, putting money into our government officials' pockets and kind of swaying the elections and swaying certain laws that benefit them but not us. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll be back with another video where I'll look at the next news story and we'll comment on it. So thank you guys for watching, and I see y'all another time. Goodbye.